everyone, and happy Tuesday. It's Byrd back with another nightly news update here on KCTV5 Plus. Streaming, of course, it's Veterans Day. Today here at the station, we are dedicated to telling the stories of those brave men and women who have fought for our country. First up here, before we get into the top headlines of the day, I sat down with Justin White. He's a Kansan native and actually a local responder raised right here in the metro. He recently wrote and released a song. All proceeds from that song are going to the Folds of Honor through the end of the month. The song, it's called Home Again. It's very, very important meaning, especially on Veterans Day. With no further ado, I'm taking it over now to Justin White. Take a listen in. To the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk, I'm Katie Byrd. Today I'm joined by country artist Justin White. Justin, thanks so much for sitting down with me.
Yeah, Katie, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, of course. So, it's Veterans Day. You just released a song this week talking all about first responders. I'm so excited to feature this here at KCTV5. Before we get into that, could you just tell me a little bit about your background?
Sure, yeah. So I was originally born and raised in Ottawa, Kansas. I live outside of Gardner, between Gardner and Edgerton now. I've been in communications work for about 13 years now, and yeah, I've been playing music my whole life. I've been around music my whole life, and it's just what I'm meant to do, and I'm finally at a position where I can pursue it how I really have always dreamed of pursuing it.
Thanks so much for walking me through that. And you mentioned that you're also a first responder yourself, so could you tell me a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, so I maintain the emergency radio infrastructure for county here. I'm around a lot of first responders all the time. That's who I work with directly, fire, police, EMS, and I usually don't talk too much about me being a first responder because I'm not pulling anybody out of a house or anything like that, but we did get classified as first responders during COVID, and a lot of those guys do like to tell me that they couldn't do what they do without what I do, and I'm just very happy to be a part of it all and help the community in some way.
Thank you so much for the vital work that you do here in the community, Justin. I do want to ask you about your newly released song, Home Again. It's a very emotional piece talking about a person that didn't make it back home. So could you tell me a little bit more about your song?
Absolutely. So I wrote this song with my good friend Daniel Martin. He's a producer and a songwriter in Nashville. When we started talking about writing this song together, we were really, I was kind of going through a lot. This song is certainly inspired by the service of a lot of my friends and family. It was inspired by the loss of my stepbrother. There is really there are a lot of layers for sure. But when we wrote this song, we knew that we had written something important and something special, and a song that really means a lot to a lot of people. So we've been very blessed to get the attention of Folds of Honor, to partner with them, and they were incredibly excited about the song, and it's just really amazing to have made something that can make people feel and bring up memories, and again, a song that tells a story that's a real story and that means a lot to a lot of people.
Wow, and you're using your talents to pay it forward. I know you mentioned that partnership with Folds of Honor. Could you tell me a little bit more about why you decided to do that?
Yeah, so I've made music for a long time, and because of that, I've been around social media and things like that for a long time, and I've seen what the big artists are able to do with their money and their platform to help people. And one of the things that I've always been really excited about was to someday be able to do something like that for somebody. we are in a position now with Folds of Honor to give back to a charity that does a really great thing. They fund educations for the loved ones of deceased veterans and first responders, which I think is an incredible and important cause. And I just realized with this song and with what it means and what it will be for a lot of folks is that we did not have to wait till I had $1 million or 1 million followers to try and do something, a movement of kindness and good, and to help people.
It truly is so inspiring. You know, Justin, I'm curious. You know, you said you've been a country artist, you've been singing, songwriting for many years now. Who do you look up to in the country music world?
Yeah, so some of my current living inspirations, I think Hardy and Stephen Wilson Jr. are probably my two favorite songwriters around right now. I love Zach Top. And then people that aren't around anymore. I've been lyrically a lot compared to Toby Keith, which is a very high praise. But when Par for the Course came out, a lot of people said that that seemed like something Toby Keith would write, which I think if I'm given the opportunity to carry on his legacy, you know, how amazing is that? But Keith Whitley, I mean, Alan Jackson, you know, he's alive, but Alan Jackson, Jerry Reed is one of my favorite artists ever. But yeah, I'm a big music nerd, so I could do this part all day.
And so, along with your partnership with Folds of Honor, you also have a Give Back campaign. Could you tell me a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, so we plan to do something like this, whether we ended up the Folds of Honor partnership was a huge blessing for us. But initially our plan was to give proceeds from our merch for the month and, for the merch forever to a veteran-oriented charity because of this song. I mean, this song, the subject matter wouldn't exist, you know, without our service members, and none of us would be able to do any of the stuff that we're doing right now without them. So we do have a campaign in place. We are officially partnered with Folds of Honor for this month, and we'll be donating as much as we can. We've already raised thousands of dollars for them, and it's rapidly changing. We keep getting more corporate partners that want to match donations, which is really incredible. But we also have people with boots on the ground right now going out and giving little cookie trays and stuff, and just thanking first responders and veterans in their areas, and that's going on all over the U.S. right now.
It truly is incredible. It's very inspiring, the work you're doing and the partnerships that you have. I know that you will touch countless lives through your music and through how you're paying it forward. And so I'm curious, piggybacking off of that, how have you seen the community support from your friends, family, and those who listen to your music?
So me and the guys in the band talk about this pretty often, but we have an incredible support system. My family has been so supportive of my music forever. When I was a kid and I was not any good, they were very hard on me to make me better. You know, they never gave me any kind of disillusion about anything. And I mean, I have so many friends that are constantly sharing my stuff and engaging with my stuff and telling people, you know, this past couple years is the first couple years that I've really had people that I met as fans, not people that were friends or family that knew I did music and liked my music, but people that just came from hearing me play music and hearing about me. And that's a really cool dynamic to have with folks. But I know that there are some people that every single time they go into a gas station to buy something or get gas or whatever, they're telling the cashier and they're telling two other people in there, "Have you listened to Justin White Band?" You know, so it's really amazing.
I love hearing that, and I'm sure it's very rewarding for you to see all of your hard work, the years of writing music, singing, paying off. And, I know that this song, especially Home Again, it hits close to home for you with what you've been through with your family. I'm curious, on this Veterans Day, Justin, what's your message to those who have served?
I just want to thank everybody that has served. I want to thank the people that made it home, the people that didn't make it home. What you do is why any of us can do anything, and it is an incredible sacrifice of time and energy and really every bit of your being. So thank you for being the people that are willing to stand up and fight for our freedoms and do the things that need to be done so that the world can keep spinning over here.
Such a great message. And for those who are learning about you for the first time and are interested in getting some of your music, what would you like them to know?
You can find us at justinwhiteband.com. There are links to all of our socials there, all of our songs there. We're going to Nashville in a couple weeks to record 4 more songs, and we're going to be putting out songs very aggressively at the beginning of next year. If you like 90s country, if you like honky-tonk music, if you like songs that tell stories, and if you like a heck of a live show, those are all the things that we provide. So I do hope you guys check us out. It would mean a lot to me. And all of our merch, again, proceeds, a portion of proceeds for the Home Again line of merch are going to be donated to Folds of Honor forever. And we do have a partnerships tab too if you would like to donate or match donations or be involved however you can.
Justin, thanks so much. And then just looking ahead, looking forward, what are some of your big future goals? You said you're going to be releasing some more music next year. Could you tell me more about that?
Sure. So right now I'm sitting on a catalog of probably 30 or 40 songs that are ready to go into the studio and be recorded. So we have enough music to put out music for quite some time. It's just a matter of getting the music put together and recorded. But we do intend to release songs like 1 a month or maybe more than that at the beginning of next year, because we only have a handful of songs out right now. And we're really just trying to kind of, push to get more music out there. We're very excited to record some of these songs. They're a lot of fun, and I think people are really going to enjoy them.
Do you have any live performances coming up in the Kansas City area? I'm curious.
So actually, we don't have anything booked right now. We are kind of gearing up for next year. We've had a lot going on, obviously, with the release of this song and the partnerships we've made. So we are in talks with some big folks and trying to ride around on a tour bus with somebody.
That's super exciting. Well, Justin, again, thanks so much for sitting down on the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. I'm looking forward to sharing your work, especially on this Veterans Day, and how you're paying it forward with the Kansas City community. Thanks again.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you again, Katie, for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And if you want to see where you can find Justin's latest release, you can do that on this story on the KCTV5 website. Now, after this short break, you'll be hearing from another first responder, actually a veteran right here in the metro. She owns a quilt shop, and she's also paying it forward on this Veterans Day. We'll be back after this short break. Welcome back into the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. You're taking a look at a live view from the National World War I Museum and Memorial at the KCTV5 Tower. Of course, we have it lit up in red, white, and blue this evening, honoring those men and women who have served our country. Now, next up, taking it over to Elizabeth Thomas. She's the owner of Plain Jane's and Company out of Leavenworth, Kansas. It's a quilting shop that is also paying it forward to veterans this month. Let's take it over now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to KCTV5 Plus Streaming. I'm Katie Byrd. Today, I'm joined by Elizabeth Thomas. She's actually a local Army veteran who's paying it forward to others who have served our country through quilting. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I want to start just by asking you a bit about your background. So I know you've actually served in the United States military. Could you tell me a little bit more about your time?
Sure. I commissioned an officer into the Army out of ROTC at Northern Arizona University after I graduated nursing school. And my first duty station was working on the Wounded Warrior Unit at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C., and then when they transitioned into the Walter Reed Military Medical Center.
Thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate you sitting down with us today. So you actually run Plain Jane's and Company. It's out of Leavenworth, Kansas, and you're actually supporting Quilts of Valor. So I want to start by asking you, I'm so intrigued by quilting. It's definitely a talent. Could you tell me why you decided to get into it?
Quilting was always a way when I was on active duty to stay in touch with my mom. My mom's been a quilter and doing crafts, and it was a way for her to raise money while we grew up in the military as well. My dad was active duty, and so it was another form of income for our family. And when I left to go on active duty, whenever she visited, we would go on adventures to quilt shops, and then we would always work on the same project. They're called Blocks of the Month, and so we would be able to keep in touch and for me to ask questions and just keep in touch that way. And so that's how the passion kind of grew for me, learning from my mom. And then we always joked about having a quilt shop in her basement. And in 2020, the opportunity presented itself for us to literally open a quilt shop in her basement.
That is incredible. I feel like each quilt kind of tells its own story, and they're very usually sentimental, whether it's a gift, someone makes it for someone, and all of the hours that get put into it. Could you tell me a little bit more about that aspect of it?
So, like you said, the process is very personal. Whether you're making it for a newborn baby, a veteran, a wedding quilt. My mom made a wedding quilt for my husband and I, and it's one of the most treasured pieces we have in our house. It's kind of one of those things you grab in case if a fire ever happens. So picking the fabric, how you quilt it, it all goes into the personality of that person. And so when you gift that quilt to somebody, they can see that you really thought about them and who they are and know how much you're loved by them. So
that's such a great way to put it. I feel like it's such a priceless and meaningful thing for someone to receive. I love the mission behind Quilts of Valor. For people here today, maybe they're unfamiliar with what you guys do with Quilts of Valor. Could you tell me a little bit more about how you're supporting them and what they do?
Absolutely. So Quilts of Valor is an organization that started in 2003 during the OIF and OEF wars. And my mom was always a part of the local Quilts of Valor group. There's tons here in Kansas City, whether she was a quilter or pieced the quilt tops for them. And so as we build our business, we've been able to expand our involvement in different ways. And so now we support those quilters and those long armists by providing free of charge our studio space that we have in Leavenworth, Kansas, right across the street from our storefront. Any organization, non-for-profit, can come use that space for free. And then we also provide discounts to those that are working towards those missions as well.
Such a great partnership that you guys have. I know this past weekend our station actually covered a Quilts of Valor event where those handmade quilts were delivered to those veterans, and just watching that evokes so much emotion. It's such a priceless thing for the veterans to experience. I'm curious, for other people who have served in the military like yourself, Elizabeth, what is your message?
It's it's a very simple way for the people who are making it, even if they've never served, for them to show how much what they've done to support the country and protect us. And it's a quilt. It seems so simple, but all the effort and emotion put into it is a small message to say thank you, and let them know that they are not forgotten other than one day of the year, Veterans Day, and that we appreciate them year round.
It's a great message. You know, we're so grateful for our veterans, and while they are in the spotlight on November 11th, we want to support them every single day of the year. I think Quilts of Valor is a great operation, and I'm so glad and thankful for the work you are doing in the community to support them. And so for people here in the Kansas City Metro who are wanting to support that through Plain Jane's and Company, your quilt shop, could you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. We have partnered with our retail system, like so, which is our point of sale. They have the Roundup program, the Quilts of Valor Roundup program. So with every purchase in the shop, there will be a question at the end to round up to the nearest dollar, and every penny helps. And so that goes to the national organization to spread out amongst all the quilt groups throughout the country to make more quilts for veterans, to reach out to more veterans, and maybe spend less out of their pocketbook and more time.
Thanks for walking me through that. And again, just to see the veterans' emotions, what it's like for them to receive one of these quilts, it truly is something that can't even be put into words. And I know the hours behind quilting, they can be long as well. So could you walk me through a little bit more on the process? I've certainly never done it. I think it's very admirable.
It is an interesting process, one with a lot of emotions attached to it. Any quilter can tell you. Just deliberating over what fabric to use in the quilt, finding the perfect pattern to show off those fabrics, cutting it up, sewing it together. And then if you're not a long armist, the people that bring all three layers of the quilt together, the top, the batting, and the backing, finding that perfect long armist for you to really bring your quilt to life and sew it all together for you.
You know, I'm thinking back, one of the baby blankets I received when I was born was a quilt that I still have to this day. It's kind of a lifelong gift. Sometimes quilts are passed along through families generationally, and so it certainly is a very useful thing to know how to do. And so is there anything else that you want Kansas Cityans to know just about your work or your shop?
Our business has thrived because of the community that we're in. We're in a very heavy military community, being right off of Fort Leavenworth. And so most of our customers are related to the military somehow. So we appreciate their support and everything that they've done for us. So for us to be able to give something back, even in the smallest way, is the best. It's the best. So we greatly appreciate it. And all the relationships and friendships that have grown out of our business are unbelievable. So I appreciate everybody.
Elizabeth, thanks so much for sitting down on the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. Thank you for your service as well. We're looking forward to featuring your work here in the community on this Veterans Day. Thank you again.
Thank you, Katie.
And up next, I'll be giving you a closer look at the biggest Veterans Day gatherings from around the metro, as well as a look at the United States Capitol Christmas tree that happened to stop right here in Kansas City this afternoon. We'll be right back. And across the metro today, people have gathered to honor the men and women who have sacrificed to serve our country. KCTV5 reporter Nathan Brennan was out in Leavenworth at what they're calling the largest and oldest Veterans Day parade west of the Mississippi River. Taking it over to him now.
There are several parades happening across the metro on this Veterans Day, but only one can say that it is the largest and oldest parade west of the Mississippi. And that's right here in Leavenworth, Kansas. About 250 different groups and organizations weaving their way through downtown Leavenworth, many of them proudly waving American flags. Their path is about 1.5 miles, with families packing both sides of the street along the entire route. This year's theme is honoring America's veterans, and some of our nation's bravest heroes are rightfully feeling recognized on this Veterans Day.
It touches my heart to see everybody come out here for this day.
Let me know that they appreciate the service that I gave to the country.
Just recognizing the service of others that have served, in the military, no matter what your branch.
The service that I gave to the United States for the 24 years and 10 months, I would just tell you that it makes me feel good to come out here and see everybody that's here and everybody that is supporting.
This is the 106th consecutive year that Leavenworth will host a Veterans Day parade. Organizers tell me that over 15,000 people will make it to downtown Leavenworth this year. At the intersection of 4th and Cherokee, Nathan Brennan, KCTV5 News.
And the Kansas City, Kansas School District honored 2 local veterans by giving them honorary high school diplomas. Now, many service members were unable to complete their education while serving. The district's Board of Education says that this is the least that they can do to thank them for their service.
They dropped what they're doing and they served our country, and we want to recognize them for doing that. That takes a lot.
You just heard from Markel Johnson. He is the Director of Communications and Marketing in the Kansas City, Kansas School District. This special presentation is part of Operation Recognition. It's a program that pays tribute to the service and sacrifice of World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War veterans. And at the World War I Museum and Memorial this morning, they held a celebration honoring our nation's alliance with Australia. You guys, take a look at this. The ceremony began with the singing of our national anthem as well as Australia's. Now, America's allyship with Australia was a large point of emphasis throughout the entire ceremony. You can see there it was a packed house as American and Australian troops fought side by side in both wars. And Rear Admiral Ian Murray, head of Australia's defense, addressed this crowd this morning, detailing battles troops from both countries fought side by side and the strong relationship our two countries hold. As an Australian veteran of 40 years, the ceremony meant just a little more to the Rear Admiral. And amid ongoing national challenges, local veterans organizations are focused on building community support amid the national challenges, of course, with the ongoing government shutdown. KCTV's Morgan Rydell gives us a closer look.
The attacks that we're taking right now, it's like a bombardment.
Brian Walker works for the VFW. He says right now they're fighting for veteran benefits. They want benefits expanded for mental health, but others are pushing for cuts.
And learning to manage that is a challenge, and it takes therapy and a lot of outside sources that sometimes the VA doesn't allow, or has so much red tape that it's hard for us to get into.
It's happening at a time one local nonprofit, The Battle Within, says their veterans are falling on a hard time.
Veteran mental health in general, every day can be a challenge, right? And so now we're adding on these layers and this division that's in our country.
That's Clinical Director Jamie Waymeyer.
I'll go to war, but can't line up to take a picture.
She helps lead workshops and therapy groups for The Battle Within.
I mean, I'm grateful to have a job, and also it's because the need is so great. The need is so great that, and I don't see that diminishing.
She's helped veterans like Tanya Lakins and Heather O'Brien, who say they wouldn't be the same today without support. And they use it more than ever right now.
There's a lot of veterans who are struggling with the way things are going.
And if you don't have that group, then you're very much alone and you feel really alienated.
Walker says it's organizations like this that veterans need to be finding and relying on as they continue this fight for more benefits rather than cuts.
Join an organization like the VFW. If you haven't, join one of the other many great veteran service organizations or VSOs. For me,
you know, this really shows the support everyone needs as the shutdown continues, especially those who have fought and served for our country. And next up here, another Veterans Day event out in Parkville. Take a look at this. Local veterans and active duty military members played in a charity golf scramble, and the money raised helped benefits PGA Hope. It introduces golf as a form of physical and mental rehabilitation for veterans, and KCTV sat down with one of those members, Ralph Hamilton, after sinking a putt. Take a listen in.
It was great. It was a birdie putt, and I just luck of the Scotch, I guess. It's important that we get out into the community. A lot of veterans are they don't want to get out in the public anymore. They're sort of stay at home. This gets them out there.
And taking it back over to the Kansas side, out in Gardner, it was a day of remembrance. Thanks to Gardner Edgerton High School, students and staff gathered together to pay tribute to the city's military veterans. In front of a packed gym, and a choir sang the theme song from every branch of government. Vets sat front and center of the gym as local leaders spoke about the importance of service. And one member of the Army who graduated from Gardner just over a decade ago got his chance to speak. He says it felt like a full circle moment for him.
When I went to high school here, it was a very small town, and to see how much it's grown and to see that they're still putting in this much and even more for the veterans, and to remember the Veterans Day and what they do here at the school, I think it's a great thing.
Gardner Edgerton High School also has a wall of honor outside for all former students and staff who have families tied to the military. And next up, local organization United Way is seeing a surge in calls as the government shutdown is putting more strain on Kansas City families. KCTV5 reporter Grace Smith takes us a closer look at how this organization is responding.
These desperate questions are flooding Kansas City's United Way 211 helpline every few minutes. But it's not just about statistics. This is about your neighbors.
What has that been like for you? It's hard because we want to be helpful, right?
If this is you, you are not alone. Just yesterday, call taker Kristen Engelbrecht says nearly 50 people called begging for help because the government shutdown has drained their savings.
Now I'm reaching out to figure out how do I solve my needs and feed my family, cover my bills, while I still have to work, but I'm not getting paid, or I was furloughed and I'm not sure where to go next.
To help meet the demand, she says they're focusing on problem solving before directing them to local resources.
We're doing a lot of problem solving with our callers. We're trying to sit with them where they're at, explore what opportunities there might be within their own social system and network of friends and family, as well as what's out in the community that they can get connected with so they can hopefully get their needs met.
It's really challenging and resources are limited in the community right now.
Kara Mashek with United Way of Greater Kansas City says it's also why they created Snap into Action.
So we've been doing volunteer meal kit packing events over the last week, and we have 4 or 5 more of those that are scheduled over the next month, packing 300 to 500 meal kits that provide anywhere from 1,200 to 2,400 meals.
All to help people on the other end of Kristen's line who might be calling for the first time.
We really want to make sure they know, like, people care.
And for more information on resources available, you can go to this story, of course, on the KCTV5 website. Next up, some local tattoo artists are calling for more regulations and stricter apprentice training after reports of infections and botched tattoos. You guys, take a look at this.
If you are not confident in your work and if you're not doing a good job, don't touch somebody.
Christy Weiler is passionate about supporting experienced tattoo artists, but it was a lesson she learned the hard way after she says an apprentice in Leavenworth messed up one of her tattoos.
Learn from my mistake. Cheap work is cheap work. And so I don't do anything cheap anymore. And I don't know, there definitely needs to be more rules and regulations.
Now she's warning others this could happen to you. Years later, she still tries to cover it up.
Just because someone is an apprentice by a shop owner, or just because somebody is a shop owner, doesn't mean that you need to trust their work.
That's why this petition was created by James Lewis, a tattoo practitioner in Kansas City for the past 10 years. He says the current requirements are not enough, leading to rushed training, infection risks, and poorly skilled artists.
That I'm seeing a very large oversaturation of new artists coming into the industry, being licensed within a year and taking on their own apprentices and opening up their own shops.
He's pushing for change. He wants a 5-year minimum requirement of experience before mentoring and teaching in Missouri, as well as a 3 apprentice maximum.
There's nothing in Missouri from stopping one person to get licensed today. Tomorrow, even if they have no formal training, because there's nothing to put checks and balances on that formal training.
You guys, the World Cup is inching closer and closer. If you want to know the exact amount of days, I did a little bit of math. 212 days till it kicks off right here in Kansas City. And of course, local businesses are everywhere in the metro. You know, they're excited for a huge boost in business with hundreds of thousands of people expected to make their way from around the world. KCTV5 reporter Ali Espinosa gives us a closer look at how they're preparing.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I mean, you just got to do the best. Sometimes you got to spend a little bit more money. You got to have some extra on deck so you can kind of have variety.
Matthew Hill is the owner of AJ's in downtown. He knows busy nights, but nothing like what we're expecting when teams and their fans come to KC for the World Cup.
Kansas City don't understand how big it's really going to be for them to come here.
650,000 visitors in possibly 15 different countries flooding downtown, all looking for a place to eat, drink, and watch the matches. That's why planning ahead is critical.
Things like, does a culture of a country, are their fans used to tipping? What time of day do fans like to eat?
AJ's is already making changes. More inventory, staff training, cultural preparation.
That would be our focus, to try to, work with whatever the culture that is coming in, to try to capture them and make them feel comfortable about coming here. Even if you can find some souvenirs or signature drinks.
Because he knows Kansas City businesses have one chance to make a good impression on the world.
It's going to be an exciting time for everybody in Kansas City. It's going to give everybody an opportunity to see a different world.
And take a look at this. From Nevada to Washington, D.C., a big Christmas tree is on the move. It just stopped in our area earlier today. A few fun facts about the tree. It's from the Humboldt-Toyabe National Forest in northern Nevada. It's a 53-foot tall red fir that they've named the tree Silver Bell, and its branches extend 16 feet wide and are 28 inches in diameter. You guys, take a look at that. I love the display they have set up. People were able to come and see, take pictures of a portion of the tree, and sign a trailer that's taking it all the way to the nation's capital. Man, I am so glad that Kansas City was picked as one of the stops. Surely an exciting day here. Now, next up, after this short break, I'll be giving you a closer look at some of the national top headlines of the day. Until then, here's a look at KCTV5 Tower, the view from the National World War I Museum and Memorial. We'll be right back. Earlier today, the Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration to allow it to continue to withhold fully funding food stamp payments this month. Now, the court's extension of a short-term order comes amid signs that the government shutdown could soon end. The move also doesn't resolve the issue, but it appears to bide time to allow the Congress to pass a pending funding bill. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, of course known as SNAP, helps more than 40 million Americans, and several groups sued the federal government to force it to pay November's full benefits. And back on Friday, Justice Jackson issued an administrative stay that blocked a lower court order that required the administration to provide full SNAP benefits. Now, Tuesday's ruling earlier today extends the stay through Thursday. Now the House is set to take up a government funding package that was just approved by the Senate. If the shutdown ends, lawsuits tied to SNAP would become moot. And of course, with it being Veterans Day, President Donald Trump made his way to Arlington National Cemetery. Take a listen into a few of his remarks.
Today we remember with overwhelming gratitude the more than 1 million American service members who have made the supreme sacrifice and laid down their lives for the good old USA. Generation after generation, America's warriors have left behind the comforts of home and family to face violence, evil, and death so that our families could know joy, goodness, and peace. We honor them so strongly. Our heroes have lived through unthinkable nightmares so we could live the American dream, and the American dream is coming back again, stronger than ever before. As you know, today is not only Veterans Day, but it's my proclamation that we are now going to be saying and calling Victory Day for World War I. Victory Day, you know, I was recently at an event and I saw France was celebrating Victory Day, but we didn't. And I saw France was celebrating another Victory Day for World War II. And other countries were celebrating. They were all celebrating. We're the one that won the wars. And I said, from now on, we're going to say Victory Day for World War I and World War II.
And next up, private sector hiring has declined in recent weeks to suggest a continuing slowdown in the labor market. Payroll provider ADP says an average of 11,250 jobs were lost per week over a month's time that ended on October 25th. Compare that to a gain of 14,250 jobs per week in the previous 4-week cycle. The new data is part of a newly launched report from ADP, and it aims to provide a higher frequency snapshot of the United States labor market activity. The company's private sector employment estimates do not always align with federal data. However, it can provide an indication of the trajectory of overall hiring. And of course, this data comes amid an absence of jobs numbers from the federal government shutdown. And next up, the United Kingdom has stopped sharing intelligence with the United States about suspected drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean. Sources have told CNN that the UK doesn't want to be complicit in U.S. military boat strikes that have killed a total of 76 people, and it believes the attacks are illegal for the UK. And they believe it's a substantial break from this closest ally and intelligence sharing partner. Now, going on here, it underscores growing military skepticism over the legality of the Trump administration's military campaign around Latin America. The UK controls multiple territories in the Caribbean where it does keep intelligence assets. And for years, it has helped the U.S. find vessels suspected of transporting drugs The U.S. Coast Guard would then stop and board the ships, detain the crew, and seize the drugs. The intelligence pause began more than a month ago. And next up, Ford is working on a new design for its dealerships with a focus on more hospitality and less sales pressure. They want it to feel less like a dealership and more like a hotel. The design is called Ford Signature 2.0, and the automaker has built a simulation lab in Michigan featuring the new dealership design. Take a look at that. I would definitely go car shopping there, you guys. The goal is for all of Ford's 9,000 dealerships worldwide to eventually adopt the concept. Wow, that is pretty mind-blowing there. And the project involves new art and furniture, as well as training to help dealership staff work within the new environment. The open concept showroom has lounge seating, a center area with food and beverages, and a greeter to welcome customers. And if you haven't heard, iguanas are falling from the trees in Florida. It's because of the sudden cold snap felt throughout the entire country. Now, wildlife experts say frigid temperatures can send these reptiles into a stunned condition, and it causes them to lose control of their muscles. Sometimes they fall out of trees like seen here, and the iguanas, don't be alarmed, you guys, they're not dead. They're just briefly paralyzed, and the Wildlife Conservation Commission says that frozen iguanas should be left alone until they recover and run off, and residents have taken photos of these iguanas like as shown here on both the east and west coast of Florida, and I think it may send me into a spiral if I ever went to Florida and saw one of these poor iguanas on the ground looking just so helpless there. Glad they are going to be okay once it warms up though. Here, while getting eloped might not be as romantic as having a traditional wedding, it could, of course, help your wallet. Over the past 5 years, the price tag on an average wedding has risen nearly 20% to $33,000, according to Wedding Marketplace The Knot. That upward trend is expected to continue in part because of the Trump administration's tariffs. Now, roughly 20% of vendors say charges on non-U.S. countries have caused their prices to go up for items including dresses, rings, and even cake ingredients. Now, the CEO of The Knot Worldwide says that vendors have to make tough calls and decide whether or not to raise their prices or absorb the additional costs themselves. Now, analysts also say that 1/3 of engaged couples say they have concerns about paying for their special day. You guys, I'm just thinking back to that $33,000 price tag. I'm thinking about all of the vacations that could pay for, down payment on a house, countless trips to your favorite restaurant. There's a lot you could do with that money if you do decide to go the more non-traditional wedding route. And if you haven't heard, a light show courtesy of Mother Nature could be on display throughout a good portion of the northern United States this week. In as many as 21 states, a geomagnetic storm will create a spectacular display of the Aurora Borealis. I just love that word. Or the Northern Lights. And the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the lights could be visible to more northern than typical on Tuesday, U.S. states into Wednesday. Now, forecasters say people in all of Washington state and parts of Oregon and Idaho might be able to experience the lights, but those aren't all of the states, of course. Many Great Plains states could also see the aurora, including portions of Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio, and potentially right here in the metro, you guys. Now, East Coast states, including parts of New York, Maine, and Vermont, could get a glimpse, as well as Pennsylvania. That is certainly exciting and pretty rare. I don't remember the last time, if ever, I've seen the Northern Lights, honestly, you guys. And a couple more fun updates for you guys. Good news for all the McDonald's lovers out there. If you haven't been recently, the popular McRib sandwich is back, but there's a catch. It's only available at select locations. This is according to the McRib Locator website. Some markets began selling the sandwich last week, and it's unclear how long it will be on the menu. In addition to this, McDonald's holiday pie, the highly coveted holiday pie, will return nationwide starting this Friday. You guys, I do have to say I have tried the McRib before one time, and that is the only time I will ever have the McRib. I'm more of a McChicken, chicken nugget type of person, but it is there if you are a fan of that sandwich. Taking it over now to a little bit of entertainment news for all of the cartoon movie lovers out there. Woody, Buzz, and Jessie are back in action. That's right, Disney and Pixar dropped the first teaser trailer for Toy Story 5 on Tuesday. This teaser reveals a new high-tech toy rival named LilyPad. That's about to make the rest of the gang's jobs a bit more complicated. Now, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and Joan Cusack return as Woody, Buzz, and Jessie, joined by Tony Hale's Forky and newcomer Conan O'Brien as a toilet training tech toy called Smarty Pants. Toy Story 5 hits theaters in June 2026. I am certainly excited for this. I remember when the first movies came out as I was a kid, my cousins and I, we all gathered around the TV so excited for each new movie. Can't believe they're on 5 now. That's kind of crazy, you guys. That about does it for our KCTV5 Plus streaming updates this evening. It's just about 9:23 here, so just a little over 30 minutes till your KCTV5 news at 10, and tomorrow morning the KCTV5 Plus streaming crew will be back with your top morning headlines. So after my KC Live gets over, make sure to come to either KCTV5 Plus on Roku or YouTube. We also have it on Facebook, of course, to get your extended news updates. Again, thanks so much for joining me, you guys, and have a great evening.